This is the Washington Times front page for Wednesday, July 30th, 2025. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. Convicted Jeffrey Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell wants immunity and other conditions in exchange for testifying to Congress about his alleged list of clients. Susan Ferricchio reports Maxwell's attorney wrote to lawmakers informing them that she won't testify from prison and won't answer their questions without a promise of immunity and other provisions. The House Oversight Committee voted last week to subpoena Maxwell amid pressure from the Republican base and Democrats to expose the men who victimized the girls, some as young as 14, who were trafficked by Epstein. President Trump's power to impose tariffs on other nations will be hotly debated before a federal appeals court this week. Tom Howe reports the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit will hear from administration attorneys contesting a May ruling that struck down Trump's ability to set sweeping tariffs under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. Attorneys for Democratic-led states and the Liberty Justice Center say that law didn't give presidents sweeping abilities to impose tariffs, and even if it had, Trump would be stretching the amount of trade power that Congress delegated to the executive branch. The Trump administration widened its battle against federal judges this week by filing a formal misconduct complaint against Judge James Boasberg. Alex Swoyer and Stephen Diner report Boasberg has accused Trump of creating a constitutional crisis by ignoring court rulings. Justice Department Chief of Staff Chad Mizell, who signed the complaint, said Boasberg's private comments presaged a string of erroneous rulings based on his preconceived notion that Trump would defy court orders. A narrative has taken hold in some circles inside Russia that the U.S. owes credit for its survival in its infancy and during the Civil War to Russia. The truth, Ben Wolfgang reports, is much more nuanced. Historians say Russia did support the Union during the Civil War and sent naval detachments to both coasts during the conflict. During the American Revolution, historians claim Russia's refusal to send troops to fight alongside the British and its maritime neutrality significantly aided the Americans' cause. Russia, however, has followed a similar rhetorical playbook for decades in its dealings with Europe, often stressing its fight against Nazi Germany and the appreciation that it believes nations such as France and Great Britain should show. Colleges that respect students' free expression outnumber those with restrictive speech codes for the first time in 2 decades, according to a report from a free speech advocacy group. Sean Salai reports the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression highlighted 73 colleges and universities for respecting the freedom of students to express themselves, a record high in its database dating back to 2006. Over the same period, the Philadelphia-based group found that the number of campuses with severely restrictive red light policies on student expression fell from 98 to 72. And finally, reaction has ranged from stunned to skeptical after British Defense Minister John Healey said Australia and Britain would fight with Taiwan against China. Andrew Salmon reports the comments have stirred attention given that Britain maintains a minimal military presence in the region. Some analysts say the audience Australia and Britain are targeting may be less Chinese and more American. Find all today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.